everyone. We are here today with Jennifer Dawn, which is going to be so awesome because I talk about this all the time about how you can combine having a great planner system and another business, and they complement each other. So you're in for a treat today because Jennifer Dawn is going to let us in on all her great secrets. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for being on. So just so you guys know, I don't know, I know Jennifer because I think she is just, before she even made planners, she's an amazing leader. And so I just loved her energy, and she was in charge of this networking group in New York. And it was like when I was first starting out. So Jennifer is like my first mentor ever in the whole entrepreneur world.
Oh, that's so awesome. That makes me smile. That's really awesome.
Yeah. So tell us more about you and Jennifer Dawn Coaching.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I think I was born with the entrepreneurial bug because I had my first business when I was 8 years old. And I remember I would sell apples off my grandfather's tree. And he had a chiropractic office. And so the patients would come in and out. And I was like, hey, I could sell apples to those patients coming in and out. And they were like, you should have a lemonade stand. I'm like, no, everybody does that. I want to do something different. So this is me at 8 years old. And I remember making, like, one day, I think I made $2 whole, and it was like I had 8 shiny quarters. And I remember just being like, that's the coolest thing ever. And now looking back, I realize it was probably my most perfect, most profitable business because the apples were free. I had a steady stream of people coming in and out, and a kid, you can't really say no to a kid. So that was my first business. Let's see. I went on to start more of a real company when I was 23. I didn't know anything. I was just stubborn and I thought I could do it better. And I started a software company and I grew that really from nothing. The sales my first year were $300 and I grew that to over 7 figures. And I had that for about 13 years. I was in the software world and we did point of sale systems for amusement parks, water parks, ski resorts, those kinds of places that sell a ticket. We did their front gate POS system. So let's see. So then I went into still doing point of sale, but a different industry. And I was hired on as the division president for a very large, a big $50 million manufacturing company. And they had bought a software company and they had no idea what to do with it because they were manufacturing people. So they hired me in to run their software division, which I did for a few years and grew their sales there as well. And really, I enjoyed the work, but at this point, I had 3 children and I was never home, and just corporate was really not a good fit. And so I decided to go back out on my own. And it's so funny, when I first kind of stepped back out on my own, I started doing some marketing consulting work. And one of my clients was actually an intuitive, and she hired me to rewrite a bunch of things on her website. And we were on the phone one day and she just sort of gave me this impromptu reading and said, Jennifer, I see you as a business coach. You should immediately rebrand yourself. I see big money in it for you. And I was like, who in the hell wants to be a business coach? That's crazy. And I just didn't really even give it a real serious thought. And so it wasn't until I had gone through a divorce and I met and had not married yet, but I relocated to New York with my now husband. And that's where the Women Entrepreneurs Group had, I'd gone to one of the meetings to meet people. Right. And when they found out my education and my history and my experience, they were like, oh my gosh, you'd be perfect to help us in the group mentoring other women. And so I did that for a few years, loved the work. And really, it was there that I kind of found this love of coaching and mentoring and helping others. And I realized, hey, I do have a lot of really good experience here and I happen to really love it. And that's really what kind of gave me the courage to step out into coaching. And from there, I went out on my own and I've been going like gangbusters ever since.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense because you're very charismatic. You're great at encouraging and being supportive. So it only makes sense that you would one, go into coaching, and two, also go into planning. Because I don't know if you guys know this, like there was nothing wrong with the group before, but it was never organized. Like you never knew what was going on or who was doing what. But like once Jennifer came on board, like there was a schedule, people knew what was going on, right? It was like night and day. So I really liked it.
Yeah, that's how I just tend to be. It's not that I'm super regimented, but I really like to make sure that the most important things get done. And, you know, you kind of sometimes need a schedule to make that happen. So thank you. It's a compliment to hear that, because definitely I love running a tight ship. And so that's probably why I really love the work I do, where I'm really helping entrepreneurs to kind of tighten up their businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about the best planner ever and how that fits in with Jennifer Dawn.
Yeah, absolutely. So the planner actually came about as really from my coaching. So when I had gone out on my own for coaching, I was sitting in looking at my desk one day, and I literally had the $10 planner, the appointment book from Walmart. I had, you know, a vision book. I had goal stuff. I had a book of inspirational quotes. I had sticky notes everywhere. And I was just like, I've got to do something with all of this. And I hadn't really found a planner that worked for me, that brought in all elements. And so for me, I'm very logical and analytical on that, you know, scheduling and organization side, but I'm also very creative, and I've got a really strong spiritual side, and I love all the woo-woo stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wanted something that was going to combine the power of visualization with, you know, my goals, my tangible action steps, and making sure that every day I wasn't getting caught up in busy and was really working on the right things. Meanwhile, keeping myself, you know, taking care of myself, so my batteries were full and I could serve my clients, mm-hmm. and staying motivated and inspired and all that together. And so that's really where it came about, is I created something for myself to use for me. And then I found that it was working so well, I started using it with my clients. And they were like, holy crap, this is really great. And I'm like, I know, right? It's really great. So that's really kind of how it started, is I created it as a tool for myself and then took that into my clients. And then the response there was really positive. And so from there, that's when my business side of my brain was like, wait a second, this could actually be a business. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did with it.
And it is great. Yeah. So when you were making that planner, and everyone thinks that there's so many things to consider, like what were important features that you wanted to make sure were included?
Yeah, and there are a lot of features when you think about creating a planner. It sounds simple, but mm-hmm. when you really have to try to take in everything that goes on in your own day, and then it gets more complicated when you're now like, hey, what goes on in everybody else's day? Right. It starts to get complicated very quickly. But the for me, the key pieces were vision board. So mm-hmm. really getting clear on where I wanted to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And for me, the power of visualization and seeing it, that was the first key piece, was having my vision board. And I wanted it integrated with my daily planner, so that, because, you know, I've created vision boards before, and then they end up in a drawer or hanging on a wall behind a door, and you don't look at it, right? You don't look at it, you don't see it. And so I really wanted to have my vision board right there, so that before I planned my day, I could look at my vision board, and that would be an instant, am I working on the right things today? Mm-hmm. Like, no question about it. So vision board was the one key piece. The second key piece was going to be the goals. For me, whatever you call them, benchmarks, you know, mile markers, goals, I don't care about the terminology. It's just breaking down now where I want to be in the future by measurable benchmarks. So I wanted those bigger goals in there. And then, of course, on that daily planning sheet, my number one goal was just making sure, like, how do I want my ideal day to go? How do mm-hmm. I want it to go? And so I need a reminder in there to take care of myself, you know, not run myself into the ground, and do some self-care. I want a place for my sticky notes, because I use them all the time. Mm-hmm. And I want to know what's my top priority. So when I sit down to work for the day, no matter what stuff I have to do, I'm doing at least one thing to get me closer to that vision board. So those were the pieces that really kind of went into the creation of it that were really important to me.
Awesome. Yeah. And I love that it's black and white, because at first I remember thinking, why isn't it colorful? But this is like, it's much more professional. And if you want to, then you can use any colors or Post-its and those will pop and stand out better.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to have a little more color in there. Our printer, we print on demand so that we won't have a lot of waste. That was really important to me, to not have waste. And so we print on demand, but it sounds silly, but the other reason why I just wanted plain black and white paper was because if the paper is too pretty, I won't write on it, because I don't want to mess it up, because it's too pretty. And then I'm like,
exactly.
Oh, look, my writing's a mess and it made the page look terrible. And so I kept it black and white, because for me to really be a useful tool, I didn't want to be afraid to just get in there and write all over it.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So, what was so we talked about, it was just kind of came out organically. You made a planner that you wanted for yourself and your business. When you thought about making it for others, was it because you wanted another revenue line, or is it a new business venture, a lead magnet for your coaching?
In the beginning, it was really more about keeping myself on track. And then it definitely was about really helping my clients. That was really my intention with it, is that I can use this as a tool to help them get better results, and results are really important for me. So that's really, really where it started. It wasn't until people really started to kind of like it that I started to think, hey, this could also be a good side business. And it's almost like a way of expanding my coaching into a different area. We do a lot of time management work in my business coaching, but the planner really lets me get into other places with, that aren't even necessarily business related. Just really kind of getting into a person's life that may not even have a business. So I love how it allows me to still take some of those time management strategies and techniques and just help apply that to any woman. And honestly, I've had a lot of men using the planner too. It was just for women, but I get a lot of men who use it. But really just kind of helping us all to manage that day-to-day chaos that we all have in this busy world we live in.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I don't think any of us think about men when it comes to planners. And I make, pretty girly ones. And I still even have guys that write to me and say, thanks, I like this. And I just thought, I didn't mean to market to you, but that's great that you like it.
It's true. And because I think I used to use more like swirly fonts inside, and I made it a little more gender neutral, because I have had so many men buying the planner. I kind of backed off a little bit of the girly to work with the men. And I think it's great, but you're right. Like, I have Googled, planners for men, and there really aren't any. It's the same planner that the women are buying that the men are buying too. So
could be a huge untapped market.
It could be. And I've thought of this, and I've even run some ads and stuff to men, and they definitely work, and the men absolutely buy them. So it may be a huge untapped market. I think sometimes men start to think that a planner isn't manly, and they get, a little scared off by that. But for the men who are brave enough to just be like, hey, I want to get my stuff together, more power to them.
Right. Exactly. So, talking about getting things together. So, we talked about the features that you wanted and how you decided on print on demand. How long did it take you to go from inception to your first sale?
Oh gosh. Well, my first sale came pretty quickly, because I think I just had some friends who bought them. So that part was
perfect.
And I would say from the time I started designing, went into production, got the first prototype, I want to say that was probably 30 to 45 days, somewhere around in there. Remember, I was doing this on the side. So I still had my full coaching practice, and when I had time, I would work on the planner. So probably took a little longer to get through that piece, because I wasn't really working on it full time. But I remember, I still have it, my first prototype. I remember when it showed up, and I was just like, overjoyed to see my design actually be something tangible I could hold in my hands. And I loved it because in coaching, you're talking, you know, it's a service. There's not a lot of tangible, there's not something physical you can hold on to. So it's really been nice to have that element of my business thing that I actually print and ship out, and not just on the service side. And I was in software for so many years too. So service is all a software, you know, you can't really touch it. But the planner you can touch, and I just love that.
Great. And, you know, talking about that prototype from the first year to what it looks like now, you know, how has it changed? And were those personal decisions or feedback or business decisions?
Yeah, so definitely some of it was personal, as I use this planner. Like, it's what sits on my desk and runs my business and my life every day. So it's not something I created and I use something else. Like, the one thing I am not is a hypocrite. I'm not going to say, hey, this works, and I don't use it. So I use it every single day. So some of it definitely came from my own, just like, hey, this might work a little better. And then the rest of the changes for sure have come from feedback. I really listen to my customers. You know, as you start to get bigger and bigger, you'll get requests that are just a little nuts, and you're just like, yeah, I just can't do that. But the feedback that comes in, that you're like, wow, that could really help others. I had a lady who suggested, in my sticky note box, there's a meal and exercise tracker, and she's like, could you add water to that and put like little water glasses? I'm like, I could totally do that, and that is a great idea. So that's going to be in 2019. So definitely feedback from the people who are using it is super, super important in the changes that we make. And now I've kind of gotten, so I released my first one in 2015. I'm working on 2019. It's crazy. I actually got my first request for 2019 like a week ago, and I'm like, it's March. I'm not ready yet. It's March. Normally they don't start coming in until like June, July. I was like, no way, somebody is already asking for this in March. But we are working on 2019 now, and I noticed that the first year, 2 years, I made more design changes. Now the design is pretty rock solid. People love it. And I'm like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So we'll make little design changes. We're making just a few improvements in the overall formatting, but the bulk of it is really pretty solid at this point, and I'm not going to really be changing too much.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about that process. You know, what process did you like the most versus the least? Like the design, the production, the sales, the launch?
Sure. I loved the design. Absolutely. Production was awesome when you get like that first prototype and you hold it in your hands. Like, that's really, really exciting. When it's the week before Christmas and everything's flying off the shelf, it's a really good problem to have. And on the flip side, you're like, holy crap, everything's flying off the shelf. It takes me 10 days to replenish my inventory. There's a snowstorm. UPS can't get here. I can't get all my deliveries out to the post office. Like, I mean, there was a day where my husband was like, you cannot go to the post office. The roads are like closed. It's snowing. And I'm like, no, I have to get my stickers out, you know? So it's like this mixed, you know, production becomes great until the printer is like, hey, we have a delay. And I'm like, no, this is my busiest time of the year. So it's kind of like that mixed bag of one side is great, one side's not so great, it becomes great. So sales are great. I mean, when I first launched it, the names that would come through on the orders, it would be friends, people I knew in my network. Awesome. Now it's occasional. It's not that they're not in there, but there's so many other orders, and they're all to strangers, people I don't know. And that was a really awesome transition to kind of make from now all these orders I process. I don't know these people. I still see my friends come through, but it's very, very small portion compared to the total volume of sales. So that's been really exciting, just to say a stranger went to my website, saw my planner, and bought it. Like, to me, that's huge. There's that they've trusted me with their daily planning. It feels like a great honor.
Yeah, so let's talk about that launch, because I don't think people realize when you have a dated planner, it's very much tied to the calendar year. So, what are some lessons learned from the years on how to launch those new planners each year?
Yeah, absolutely. A dated planner can be the bane of your existence or a beautiful miracle. So, um, and I love the dated planner because I don't want to waste time writing in the date. I want it done for me. And if the date is on the page, I'm gonna write on it because today's the only day that it's really gonna work. So this is why I love the dated planner too. Whereas sometimes the fill in the date ones, it's too easy to just not use it that day. So I love that part about the dated planners, but definitely timing is everything, because based on, like, I in a million years never thought that people would want the next year in the summer. I'm like, it's June. Why would you want next year? I'm not planning next year.
Right.
Right. And yet people are asking. And so I've learned, like, all right, I need to have this thing. Last year I had it out by the end of August. This year I'm going to have it out probably in the beginning of June. Just because that's what I've learned of the timing of when people kind of start to ask me for things. Also, because it's a dated planner, I have a 6-month version that goes January through June. So come May, I really have to keep an eye on my stock and my inventory because I don't want waste. And so I will end up, starting to discount and get rid of what's sitting on my shelves and not be replenishing the January through June. But then at the same time, that's also a great time to start promoting July through December.
Right.
Yeah, now I have the 12-month, of course, too. So a lot of people have just bought it for the year, but for those who only did the 6-month, there's an opportunity there for them to come and get that July planner. So definitely you've got to pay attention to those dates. And honestly, I've just watched the business, and because I'm in business all the time, I think I've just learned to watch and pay attention and see what the market demands and not try to control the market, but let the market control me. So now I know, like, hey, this needs to go on sale now. And when stock gets to a level, don't reorder. I'd rather be out for a few than to have a huge surplus. So the timing has definitely been important.
Great. Oh, we should talk about, you said you like doing the design phase. You want to show us really quick one of your planners?
Oh, absolutely. So I have my planner. I'm going to show you really quick. So here's my planner that sits on my desk, if you can see it. And it's kind of a bit of a mess, but at the front, you're able to see these are like some of my vision pages, so that when I'm sitting and planning my goals and stuff, I'm looking and seeing, hey, what am I after this year? This is an example of the stencil cover for the 6-month, if you can hopefully see that without too much color. 6-month version, I have a January through June and a July through December. We've got the quick reference tabs because I like to be able to jump from month to month. And then I use the tabs for other things. So I know, like, if I have flipped a monthly tab, it's time to do my monthly planning. It's time to look back over the past month and see anything I've missed. So that's an example of the planner, and it's spiral bound. I wanted it to lay flat on a desk, and just it's really designed. It's not going to win like a beauty pageant. And some planners that are out there are beautiful with the covers and the gold spiral, and they're beautiful, but I've found I will not use them. They're too pretty. I don't want to muck them up. So really, I designed this planner to be functional. It's going to lay on your desk. It's flexible. So, like, it bends. You can put it in a purse. It's really going to travel well, and it's really built to function and be a tool, not to win beauty pageants. If you're only wanting like a super pretty planner, it's pretty, but it's not like the prettiest. So,
but it was pretty enough to make it into Hollywood, right? Wasn't it included in a huge gift bag?
It was. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm glaring a little bit. It was in the gift bags for one of the award shows that's flying out of my head right now. But yes, they did. They chose it to be in the gift bags for the award show. It was a big one. It was one of the, the red carpet and the
It was the
cameras and
Oscars, the
everything.
Academies, right? It was
Yeah, it
a
was
big
one
show.
of those. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Which was such a huge, huge honor. And, and it was just like, if you look at the way the pages are designed, it's so good for just setting yourself up for your day, the daily time management. I think that, you know, the black and white is kind of perfect for that. It really makes you focus on the purpose and the intention of planning the day.
Cool. And did you see a spike in traffic and sales after that event?
A little bit, yeah. Not a huge one. Not as big as I was, of course, hoping for, but not as much. The biggest spike in my traffic has come from getting my funnel, my sales funnel really dialed in, and my advertising targeting really dialed in. That's really where I've seen the biggest spike in traffic, is just really working on that. And it was not easy. It took months and months and lots of money wasted on Facebook ads to get it really, really dialed in. But then once I did, that's where I've really found the steady increasing traffic. If I want to sell more, I increase my budget.
Cool. Yeah, we've all been there where you see the Facebook bill and you're like, I don't think I even made this much as I spent on ads. Awesome. So let's talk about, what's the planning club?
Okay, so planning club came about from, I have lots and lots of videos. And so I was recording videos on, okay, hey, this is how you can do a vision board. This is how you do a vision statement. I was also recording them in my coaching practice. So it's like teaching my clients about time management. And so I just started having all of these different videos where I was teaching. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm going to do something with all of this. And I basically just threw it into a big library. So there's videos I've recorded in there. There's videos that we actually go out every month and we look for videos from time management experts. We just added a great one from Brene Brown on boundaries. Just anything that relates to productivity, efficiency, goals, time management, having all these things in your life without going crazy. And we put that into Planning Club. And then we also have a Facebook group. So every week in the Facebook group, we put a little note in there. It's like, what's your priority for the week? And people can set their intention, set their priorities. And also if they need any kind of help, like sometimes you're just stuck. And so it's just a way for me to really connect with the people who use the planner, who might be a little stuck, might have a question. They can come to the Facebook group and they can really hear directly from me or a member of my team. So that's Planning Club. I made it very, very inexpensive and easy to get access to. But this way, the videos, people could watch on their own pace. There's one in there that's like the best visioning exercise ever. And I will watch it. I'll watch it every year. I'll watch it throughout the year. So just anytime you need like that, oh, I want to go watch that again, it's right there for you.
Cool. Awesome. So now that people have gotten to know you, and how would they connect with you? And really, though, who should connect with you? Who's your ideal client?
Yeah. So for the planner side, you can just go to the website, which is bestplannerever.com. Yes, I really did name my planner Best Planner Ever. I was just like, I was telling my husband one day, I'm like, it's the best planner ever. And now I get people who are like, it really is the best planner ever. And I'm like, yes, if it's for you, it really is. It's not for everybody. I get that. But for those who it's for, it really works quite well. So you can go to my website, Best Planner Ever. There's a contact form there, of course. And really my ideal client there is just anybody who's really looking for a tool to keep them focused on the right priorities every day. It's not about filling the pages and getting as much done as you possibly can and running yourself into the ground. It's really about focusing on your priorities and using it as a tool to keep yourself focused on those priorities so that you're really moving your dreams forward. And then on the coaching side, you can get me at jenniferdawncoaching.com. And there's obviously a contact form there that'll go right to me. And for Jennifer Dawn Coaching, business owners who want to optimize their business for profitability. So it's not really for startups. It's for business owners who have already been in business. They know how to sell. I'm not teaching anybody how to sell. There's plenty of people who do that. But if maybe they are barely breaking even, they might even be in the red, or they just want to increase the profits that they do have. I've actually identified 45 places in your business where you can lose money. And so I have a whole program where we really go through the business top to bottom to optimize it for profitability. And it's everything from your time. You could be losing money from how you're spending your time, all the way down to implementing an actual cash management system that will run in the business and to really make every dollar work for you. So generally I work with business owners who have businesses, $500,000, $1 million and up. But, I do also work with some smaller businesses as well. But any business owner who really wants to make their efforts go further, that's what we do in Jennifer Dawn Coaching.
Cool. Awesome. So I will leave all of her contact information below for the planner and for Jennifer Dawn Coaching. And you're ready for the speed round?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Android or iPhone?
Definitely iPhone.
Mac or PC?
Definitely PC.
Ice cream or frozen yogurt?
This is a tough one, but lately I've been on a frozen yogurt kick.
And chocolate or vanilla?
I'm a vanilla girl all the way.
Awesome. That's interesting that you love PCs, but you're an iPhone girl.
I know. That's my only Mac device, and I love my iPhone, but all my work is on the PC.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good, Lisa. Thank you.